How's everybody doing this morning? Great. Good. Welcome to the Kennebec Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Insider Breakfast. My name is Ross Cunningham, President and CEO of the Kennebec Valley Chamber. This breakfast series is sponsored every year, or this year, by Central Maine Power and Kennebec Savings Bank, so thank you to them for the sponsors. This morning, normally we start off with, we start off with a whole bunch of announcements about upcoming events. The good news is we are incredibly busy at the Chamber. The bad news is if I try to list it all off, it would take up an hour of your time, and I'm not going to do that. So please visit our website. We have a color run. We have the Whatever Festival. Lots of exciting things happening in the next coming months, so please visit our website to learn about those. This morning we get to celebrate the graduation of the 30th class of Kennebec Leadership Institute, and with those graduates, please stand up real quick and be recognized. So 30 years, let's think about that for a second. For 30 years, Steve Pekikonis, our facilitator, has run this course, providing a consistent crop of motivated quality leaders who've gone on to serve our communities in a variety of ways. This could not have been easy. He's had to prepare, facilitate, and reevaluate this 80-hour course countless times, but at the end of the day, he succeeded in graduating 456 students, including this year's crop. Experiment, if you don't mind. If you're a KLI graduate, would you please stand up? Look at that. So again, from the Chamber and from the University of Maine, Steve, thank you. As many of you know, KLI is a business community leadership development program requiring a commitment of over 80 hours of training time. The curriculum is broken into three major components: leadership skill building, leadership experiences, and Kennebec Valley issues. It's a joint program between the Kennebec Valley Chamber and the University of Maine at Augusta, and this year's course was sponsored again by Central Maine Power and Kennebec Savings Bank. Thank you to those sponsors. In addition, the breakfast for the graduates this morning was provided by the following: University of Maine at Augusta, Kennebec Technologies, Delta Ambulance, Crisis and Counseling, and Performance Food Service. So you give me a hand to help. I had the opportunity to meet with each student prior to their interviews early on, and I encouraged each of them to spend time during the course reflecting on how they will get involved in our communities after they graduate. Today, I asked them again to consider how they will give back to our community. This course, after all, serves a twofold purpose for us. Not only does it provide the students with fantastic exposure and develop skills needed to make them great leaders, but it also creates individuals who have a passion for our community. Passion for our community leadership. We are counting on you to help lead the region in the future. As I've said before, it doesn't matter if you're painting houses, walking dogs, or running a nonprofit. We need you to take your skills and put them to use. And knowing this class, I'm really excited to see what you do with this. So congratulations again. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. James Keneally, President of the University of Maine at Augusta, to share his thoughts with us. Yep.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Ross. It's a pleasure to be here today to recognize all the wonderful graduates of the KLI. Your desire to better your community and yourself is a wonderful opportunity, and it shows when two organizations such as the Chamber and University of Maine Augusta come together to provide this educational opportunity. As you reflect on your experience in KLI, I'd like you to think about some of the following things. One, by attending KLI, you accepted the mantle of leadership in your community. How are you going to take this leadership and the skills you learned to better the community in which you reside? That is part of your responsibility now as a KLI graduate. Second, Warren Bennis, he differentiates between managers and leaders. He says, managers ask how and why. They focus on systems. They do things right, rely on control, imitate, and they emulate the good soldier. However, leaders ask what and why, focus on people, do the right things. They inspire trust, show originality, and they are their own person. Secondly, part of leadership is being a compassionate leader. And just talked about that there are leaders who communicate openly, they are flexible, they are not afraid of showing emotion, and they lead by example. The compassionate leader brings a set of skills in conducting business. It is believed that these leaders will exhibit characteristics that will fare better in handling crisis and communicating more effectively in any economic and social situation. True leaders are not those who strive to be first, but those who are first to strive and who give their all for the success of the team. True leaders are the first to see the need, envision the plan, and empower the team for action. By strength of the leader's commitment, the power of the team is unleashed. And lastly, and this is one I love, a Chinese gentleman in 640 BC wrote, "As for the best leaders, people did not notice their existence. The next best, people honor and praise. The next best, the people fear. The next, the people hate. When the best leader's work is done, the people say we did it ourselves." So I think as you accept what you learned in KLI, keep these thoughts in mind as you not just lead yourself in your future careers, but how do you lead the communities in which you are living and the work in which you are employed. I wish you best as you continue professional careers and armed with the experience, and hope you continue to maintain the passion that you have for community service. It is my pleasure now to introduce the facilitator for KLI, Steve Picuconis. Right?
Right.
I get that too. So, Steve has been teaching KLI here in Augusta since it began 30 years ago. A little darker hair there?
A little bit.
Yeah, okay. All these students?
Yeah, exactly.
His passion for community service has kept him firmly involved with the program. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve.
Hey, class 30, this is it. Yes, we have class triple X, so all year I've been seeing this. This is where I take my final facilitator's prerogative and get sort of the last word. I have a speech that I've been giving at graduation, a variation of the same speech for 30 years, so many of you have heard some or all of it before. I beg your forgiveness and your indulgence while I do it again, because it's the message that I want to give to our KLI graduates as we kind of finish this experience and move on from here. We gather this morning to recognize the accomplishments of the 18 women and men and to celebrate their graduation from the 2016 Kennebec Leadership Institute, the 30th class of this amazing program. I wrote outstanding, but I changed it to amazing. If this Leadership Institute has done its job well, this graduation will be more of a beginning than an ending, and you're going to be hearing and seeing more from these 18 remarkable people in the future. So, to you graduates, today we mark the end of your experience as a participant in a 2016 KLI, and hopefully the beginning of your new or renewed emergence as a leader in your workplace and in your community. And as I've done 29 times before, I want to offer 4 reminders of things that we've heard about from our speakers, we've talked about amongst ourselves, and we've thought about during our periods of reflection over these 14 weeks that we have spent together. Reminder number 1 is to find your passions in life and in leadership. Get involved in things you really care about, or as it's often been said, do what you love and love what you do. Jeff Bezos, the founder and CEO of Amazon.com and the Time Magazine Man of the Year for 1999, said, "One of the huge mistakes people make is that they try to force an interest on themselves. You don't choose your passions choose you." And Steve Jobs, founder and CCO, Chief Creative Officer of Apple, Fortune Magazine CEO of the Decade for the 2000s, said, you've got to find what you love. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know it when you find it. Here in the Kennebec Valley, there are lots of opportunities to get involved. Some of those, if they come your way, will seem very flattering and very desirable, full of possibilities for power, for position, influence, recognition, exposure. It'll look great on your resume. But be very careful. Be true to your passions, your beliefs, and your values, because in the long run, it will all turn out very unsatisfying if you don't have the passion behind those things you choose to get involved in. Reminder number 2 is to believe in yourself, your abilities, and your dreams. Ralph Waldo Emerson said in his famous 1836 essay, Nature, there is nothing capricious in nature, and the implanting of a desire indicates that its gratification is in the constitution of the creature that feels it. Let me translate that. According to Emerson, and I believe this as well, you would not have been given the desire to achieve something unless you were also given the ability to achieve it. Otherwise, things just wouldn't make sense. Believe that if you have a strong desire to do something, you also have the ability to do it. So go for it. Get started. Get started now. Don't wait until you're ready, because you're never really ready. Just jump in and get it going. And remember that confidence and faith in oneself may be the single most important factor separating the leader from the follower. Belief in self will open doors. It'll get you through tough times and challenges intact and strong, and it will attract other people to you who don't know exactly what it is about you that they like, but they know you've got something that they want to be part of. And remember that you are a unique human being among all the billions who live or who have ever lived on this planet, with special gifts and with a unique purpose or mission to fulfill. The Dalai Lama said, with realization of one's own potential and self-confidence in one's ability, one person can build a better world. And as the famous Irish playwright Oscar Wilde so pithily said, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. So yes, believe in yourself, but be careful of arrogance and pride, which brings me to my third reminder. Other people are and always will be your most important resource. Few people accomplish anything of value or significance alone in this world, and that is one of the great rules, the great lessons, and the great wonders of life. We can do more together than we do alone, and we'll enjoy it more. Witness our projects. And remember that as a leader, you will get what you need only to the extent that you help other people get what they need and what they want in their lives. The best leaders recognize and build on other people's needs. Needs for accomplishment, for growth, recognition, acceptance, value. If you can help other people get these things in their lives, they will help you get anything that you want to get done. This is a concept called servant leadership, of which Ken Blanchard said, servant leadership is all about making the goals clear and then rolling your sleeves up and doing whatever it takes to help people win. In that situation, they don't work for you, you work for them. And as the poet Maya Angelou said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And finally, my fourth reminder, success is as much a journey as it is a destination. How you get somewhere is as important as where you're going. So know where you're going, have goals, have dreams, have a mission for your life. But remember that life itself is a fragile gift that comes without any guarantees. It could end at any time for any of us. And if it did, could you honestly go without regrets for all the things you didn't do, didn't say, or kept putting off until tomorrow? Think about tomorrow, but not at the expense of today, because today is all we really have for sure. Enjoy it, be in it, and most importantly, do something with it. Carpe diem, seize the day. Pay attention to all that life has to offer you. It's all important, and it all has something to teach you if you let it. Remember the Native American proverb, when you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Now come the two most important words in any speech.
Good morning, and on behalf of myself and my KLI classmates, welcome and thank you for coming to our graduation. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Kennebec Leadership Institute, it is a 3-month leadership training program held in conjunction with the Kennebec Valley Chamber of Commerce and the University of Maine at Augusta. The 2016 class was the 30th since its start and has graduated over 400 students. As Steve once told us, KLI and the Super Bowl are two of the few who still use Roman numerals to count numbers or display numbers. And as you've heard, we are class XXX. The Institute is broken into multiple components. The first is leadership skill building, which is taught over the course of 2 weekends and 4 full-day sessions. We review topics such as leadership and communication skills, conflict resolution, problem solving, team building, goal setting, and many others. The second is Kennebec Valley Issues, which is taught in 8 evening panels with top business and community leaders. Topics include, but are not limited to, government, public safety and emergency preparedness, education, economic development, Kennebec Valley downtowns, and community involvement. The third is a speaker experience, where leaders in the Kennebec Valley dedicate time to talk to the KLI class about their career experiences, share wisdom on what makes a good leader, and provide opportunity for us to ask questions about their own leadership styles and skills. The fourth and last component is a class project, which the group decides on and completes together as a class. You will hear about our projects and hear greater detail on the other components that I mentioned from the rest of my classmates. Thank you.
Good job. Our second speaker is a project accountant supervisor at TRC. Please congratulate Carrie Colwell.
I have heels on, so a little taller. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. So I'm asked to talk briefly about our opening weekend. And so late January, we drove out to Camp Office, and it was a beautiful sunny morning. The sun was glistening off the ice on the trees. I took a few pictures. And then as I approached Camp Office, this enormous feeling of dread came over me. I am an introvert at heart, and this whole stuck with a weekend full of strangers seemed really awful to me. I walked through that fear and I went in, I quickly found a seat and just sat down. I'm like, okay, I made it, I'm here. And then Steve welcomed us, and then he said, all right, now I'm gonna break you up into groups. And I thought, we just got here. I have to go into group work immediately. So what we did was we had to learn about our neighbor for about 10 minutes, and then we had to introduce them to the group. And I thought, oh, I don't have to talk about me, this is gonna be okay. And as I look back on that experience, what that first activity did was, no matter what happened that weekend, no matter what happened the next 4 months, I knew somebody pretty well. Jim over there, I knew he has 3 daughters, he's a farmer, and all of a sudden I could go into that room and have a conversation with somebody. So what Steve, and I learned about other people as they went around the room, so what Steve first taught me was how to make friends, which sometimes you forget those simple little things. So after that, we presented some material on strategic and operational planning, including the importance of metrics and goals. We also talked about our expectations of the class and of each other, what we were hoping to get out of it. And then we also talked a lot about what followers want in a leader, and what is a leader. So a leader sees the future, a leader figures out what must be done today to move towards the future. A leader has to convince other people what to do to get this done. So after that first day, I already had skills that I could bring back to the office on Monday morning. And as I continue to volunteer in the community, I could take those leadership skills with me as well. That night we actually played charades, which I've never played charades before, and I had a 5-minute intro of how to play charades. But I could feel those walls that separated us, those barriers started crumbling, and we started to become friends. And so those ice-breaking things really work. You know, it's interesting to watch a group of strangers come together and how we get together and get to know each other. So Sunday, I'm just going to speak briefly. I think somebody else is covering the speakers, but Tobias Parkhurst came in, owner and president of Oaks and Parkhurst. And I have to say, I've never been so motivated to volunteer for community service as I was listening to Toby talk, and even afterwards. What resonated me with the most was his words when he said, instead of searching for a community that you want to live in, why don't you create the community you want where you live? And I just love that. I'm going to keep that with me as I continue to volunteer and take on more leadership roles in my community.
I don't sweat. This is great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Travis, for being in attendance. My journey started approximately 18 months ago with my first interview at KLI. I went there and I recall being extremely nervous, not nearly as nervous as I am now. This is awful now. I'm sorry, Travis. Anyways,
You're doing great.
all right, so fast forward 2 months. On December 1st of 2014, my beautiful wife Leslie was diagnosed with breast cancer. On January 21st, we went to Dana-Farber and had bilateral mastectomy, and we returned home on the 24th. I think somebody said, Carrie said, I have 3 young daughters, and at the time they were 18 months, 7, and 11. Opening weekend for me was a stress reliever, even though my heart felt crushing for my 3 young girls who wanted nothing but answers as to why their mom was going through what they were going through. On February 3rd, 2015, I went to the doctors for knee pain. I had been experiencing since November, the end of November. That day was a day that brought several divine interventions for not only me, but my family. It ended with me having an out-of-body experience, seeing a bright light, so warm and inviting, as I slowly rose from the emergency room table. In the end, I was diagnosed with a form of lupus, anticoagulant antibodies, which caused a large saddle clot and major clotting in my leg, reducing my oxygen levels and jeopardizing my life. Needless to say, I could not continue with KLI at that time. I began back in November of 2015, another KLI interview. Very nervous, very worried that I still couldn't complete the course. Now let's fast forward to January of 2016. I had the opportunity to hear Army Staff Sergeant Travis Mills, retired, speak at Thomas College. A good friend of mine, Sergeant Major, retired Army, Randall Liberty, had been planting seeds, and if any of you know me, I love to plant seeds and walk away and then figure out how I'm going to get that little seed to grow into a sapling, into a tree, and so on and so forth. He had been after me for many years to help out in some way, shape, or form. Goodness, I need a larger font. For those of you who don't know Travis, he was on his 3rd deployment in Afghanistan on April 10th, 2012, when he stepped on an IED. When he woke on his 25th birthday, he was a quadruple amputee. He's only one of 5 people to survive the Iraqi and Afghanistan wars as a quadruple amputee. During his recovery at Walter Reed, he earned the nickname Mayor of Walter Reed because of his ability and desire to connect with wounded veterans. Since then, Travis and his foundation has purchased the old Elizabeth Arden estate in Rome. He has renamed it the Main Chance Lodge and Retreat. It will serve as a retreat for disabled veterans and their families. It will be a place where Travis and his team can coach wounded veterans and their families on how to adjust to the new norm. I would like to give you some very important stats about Maine veterans. Maine veterans rank in the nation first in post 9/11 veteran deaths, third in veteran population, and fifth in percentage of wounded disabled veterans. Please take a moment and think about what a foundation like Travis has and what he can do to help the future of our veterans. Travis has the ability to keep his audience on edge, for those of you who have ever seen him, on the edge of their seats, with laughter and even the occasional ugly cry. Yes, I did the ugly cry. I lead a crew of 20 people at Thomas College. I'm head of a family, I'm a farmer, I'm a former Marine. I sat there in front of Travis and I did the ugly cry. How does that happen? I think it happens because I have 3 daughters. That's just my estimation. I believe everything happens for a reason, and missing out on the KLI class of number 29 happened, as strange as it may seem, for a reason. That day in January, Travis really affected me. His positive attitude is contagious and inspiring. The ugly cry also played a role. I knew at that moment I wanted and needed to give back something as special as to this foundation. Now enter KLI 30, opening weekend. Let's talk about projects. Sorry it's taken me this long to get to the topic I'm supposed to speak about this morning. For my KLI project, and I'm participating in all the others, I decided I wanted to do something to help the Travis Mills Foundation. Oh, did I mention I'm the physical plant director at Thomas College? So helping the foundation during the building phase really fits who I am. I spoke with the foundation and asked what I could do to help. It was expressed they needed local vendors who would be interested in doing some sort of in-kind or cash donations. Did I mention I'm the physical plant director? Bob's here, he raises the money, I spend it. So it was difficult for me, obviously. First step, I decided to chat with Bob from Thomas and ask for some advice in pursuing this crazy venture. We had a great conversation and off I went in my spare time. I then discussed with myself, which happens often, more often than not, what kind of goals I needed to set for my efforts. I settled on $500,000. Holy crazy. I think Bob thought I was crazy at that point too. As we speak today, I have made contacts with a few vendors and they have committed approximately $110,000 of various in-kind donations. We are still pushing forward with a couple of heavy hitters that will get the holy crazy to a reality. The following are vendors who have committed their services: Central Maine Disposal, Mickey Wing; Joseph's Flooring, Mike Joseph; Northeast Painting, John Plow; Merrimack Electric, John Carey; Sherwin-Williams, Cheryl Mitchell, who's the manager at Waterville; Standard Waterproofing, Teresa Thompson; Zimba, Ryan, and Ron Lubier. Other irons in the fire, because of some of the commitments from some of the vendors above. I've spoken with my physical plant staff, and we have 6 employees who are going to go out and volunteer a day in various projects. For our second one, Thomas College Physical Plant, 2-day of volunteering to help install all the flooring and tile in all the bathrooms, kitchen area, and entranceways from Mike Josephs. I have 5 employees that will donate 2 days. I've spoken with President Lori LaChance at Thomas College to do a service day, so that potentially will be tied in with our EDGE program. I'm also speaking with Sodexo to do a scramble golf tournament in the fall. I would ask of all of you, if you see any of these people, please pass on my heartfelt thanks for their contributions to such a great cause. In closing, I would like to thank KLI, Steve, Travis, Randy Liberty, and all my classmates for help inspiring me to make this life-changing. What am I looking for? What am I looking for, Bob? Help me out. All right. For being a part of such a special organization. I would like to also thank my wife for listening to my brainstorming and offering the support I needed. Lastly, thank you all for taking the time and listening this morning, and also being here to celebrate the graduation of all my great classmates. Thank you.
A couple things about me, okay? Knowing your story, okay? Looking at you now, he's got fingers, he's got toes. He's beating me, right? No, he's not. With his story about his wife, about himself, that's what gives me hope, knowing I'm not alone in my situation. I'm not going through this journey by myself. Other people have problems. It's apparent. It's okay. And if we all come together, that's where my story comes in. I'm just trying to help those that are like me in my situation, whether it's wheelchair, amputations, and they don't know that they can still live life to the fullest. You know, I take them out kayaking, boating, canoeing, swimming, fishing, whatever. I snowboard. I'm going to teach them all this kind of stuff and let them know they can still be a member of their family. In the room, we actually have myself, who's the president of the board, the VP in the back, and our board member here, Andrew Silsby. And if anyone wants to get involved with Travis Mills Foundation, I mean, please check out travismills.org. But I can't thank you enough for all you're doing. And I'm looking forward to more conversations, maybe breakfast tomorrow. I got to fly to Indianapolis on Thursday, but I know it's throwing it on you. For Brian Tarbuck, thanks for setting this up yesterday. Please tell whoever answers your phone, I'm sorry about the confusing phone call. And I'm going to work, I got to run a couple things over here. I'm going to go talk to the Maine State Police actually right now. I got to head over there. And I'm wondering, should the joke be, I was going to bring donuts, but I saw you guys at Mulligan's. You think that'll work? Okay, good. I'll use that one first. Hey, have a great conference. Seriously, thank you so much for, thank you so much for letting them know about what we're up to. And everybody check out travismills.org, hit the foundation tab. We have some amazing things going on, and you know, just people getting right behind this because we're letting the community know that it's all about the community. It's not just about us hiding behind anything. I'm out there, and I'm excited to be here. So hey, that blue looks good on you. Brings my eyes out too.